All right. So before I get into this theory of how artificial intelligence will affect the monetary system in the future, I'm just going to go over a quick general overview of this major paradigm shift that's happening right now between what people are calling the old paradigm and what people are calling the new paradigm. I just want to be clear that I actually don't believe that the old paradigm is going to die and that the new paradigm is going to come in and replace it. I actually believe what's going to happen is some sort of a merger between the old and the new paradigms. Uh, and this new system that's created is going to have bits and pieces of both of these structures holding it up. So, so I'll go into a little bit about what I mean by the old paradigm. And one way to visualize this old paradigm is a upright tetrahedral structure, like a pyramid, upon which our society is based. And one way to visualize the new paradigm structure that we're creating now is a reverse tetrahedral structure, like a upside down pyramid. And again, that's sort of a new structure that's still kind of experimental, and we're trying to create that right now. Now, this old paradigm is based on trust in the aspect of us that sees the truth in the matter. Whereas the new paradigm is based on trust in the aspect of us that feels the truth of the matter. Follow me? So the old paradigm is sort of masculine in its essence. It could be called the patriarchal paradigm. And essentially, it empowers those who are willing to work hard and those who are willing to make sacrifices. And with this paradigm, the power collects at the top. So those who already have power are often the ones who receive more power. So this is where this whole out of control inequality is built in to this, the way that this system is structured. And now you can see by looking back throughout history at many of these civilizations in our recorded history that have risen and fallen because this inequality between the rich and the poor becomes so much the strain on the whole culture, creates a revolution, which creates a collapse, and then a restart of the whole power structure in the same way. So this is repeated so many times throughout history, and the way that that collapse is postponed is through this whole idea of the bread and circus, where the people who have successfully created the systems and are reaping the benefits of having done so, or having their ancestors have done so, they provide those who don't have enough to survive with just enough to survive. Just enough food, just enough entertainment to feel okay with the way that things are. But eventually this bread and circus stops working, and there's so much strain within the system that some sort of a revolutionary fervor is created that triggers the collapse. So this has repeated and repeated until now. And now for, let's say, the last few hundred years, maybe 100 years, depends on how you look at it, this new paradigm is in the process of being created. And the focus of this new paradigm is on empowering individuals, focusing especially on those that have the greatest need, and redistributing power so that it actually collects at the bottom. So again, I actually don't believe personally that one of these paradigms is going to win over the other. That we're going to jump from a patriarchal society to a matriarchal society, or that there's any benefit really to doing that in terms of moving us forward. I believe the benefit will come when we figure out how to merge these two paradigms into one and create a balance between these two aspects of who we are. So we know that both systems don't work to move us forward at this time. A purely capitalistic system or a purely socialistic system, both of these systems don't work, and we know that. So we're trying to create something new now, and we're sort of in the middle of birthing that something new. So again, I don't believe the old paradigm is going to just die and the new paradigm is going to come in to replace it. I do believe in this new system, power is still going to collect at the top to a large degree, but now power will also be redistributed to the bottom. And the trick is doing this in a way that's not going to hollow out the middle of the system and destroy all opportunity, as socialism has historically done repetitively in the past. So in order to prevent this from recurring, there needs to be a change in the underlying structure of the system itself in order to be able to maximize efficiency to a whole new level that we have never experienced in our recorded history. And in order to achieve this new level of efficiency, this is where the artificial intelligence comes into play. All right, so speaking in terms of geometric patterns, sacred geometry, these two systems, one is the tetrahedral, upward-facing tetrahedron, one is the downward-facing tetrahedron, form the Merkaba, or the light body of the collective human consciousness that is a similar fractal from our own light body, our own Merkaba. And we know that having only one of those aspects strong leads us to a place that is imbalanced. And we know that having only the other leads us to a place that is imbalanced. So within our own selves, we're trying to create that balance, just like within the collective, we're trying to create that balance. And this is where the artificial intelligence that we're creating starts to come into play, when we're trying to connect these two tetrahedrons together to allow the efficiency of information transfer, to allow the efficiency of knowledge transfer, the efficiency of money transfer to exist, to allow for both of these tetrahedrons to exist at the same time in the same space, rather than needing to choose one or choose the other to lead. So the purpose of this AI is in general to increase the efficiency of both the old system and the new system, allow for them to exist simultaneously. So now let's get to how this applies to the monetary system. We have, on one hand, we have the old monetary system, which used to at least be based on gold and silver and collateralized versions of that gold and silver, which we called fiat money. Right? Fiat money just means you can sort of print as much as you need to achieve some sort of purpose. But in the past, there still was that underlying gold and silver, which was the collateral that gave value to that fiat currency. And now we have something different. But I do believe that since we've cut that tie between our fiat currencies and the underlying value, which is the gold and silver, we've done so with the intention of moving towards this new monetary system. So now we have this new monetary system, which is coming in now based on bitcoins and cryptocurrencies and collateralized versions of bitcoins and Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies and dollars to create stablecoins, right? To create more fiat currency, to create more debt. And it's the ability of this new monetary system to create more debt that is what the old monetary system will love eventually. So eventually, I believe that this old monetary system and the new monetary system will sort of merge, since they both offer ways to use this collateralized debt to create fiat money for transactional purposes. So I do believe that this integrated monetary system between the old system and the new one is the future of money, which means that we'll still have fiat currencies, but there'll be a lot more of it, since there will be a lot more debt. There will be a lot more new ways of creating debt, a lot more new ways of collateralizing various assets. We'll be able to collateralize any asset as long as we figure out how to digitize it, and that's what's happening right now. So, not only will we be able to collateralize any asset and create fiat currency from that debt, we'll be able to easily liquidate that debt to create to protect the risk of those who are accepting that collateral, right? So the ease of this liquidation of the collateralized assets can be done by smart contracts. And this is this new, more efficient way of using an artificially intelligent system in order to validate transactions. This could be done either using a mining process, mining algorithms, by running electricity through these processors in order to be able to validate these transactions, or they could be done using some other sort of consensus mechanism, and that testing of which consensus mechanism is best for which sort of purpose is now being done. So we're still in the process of doing that, and we haven't really found out which consensus mechanism is best. So likely we'll have certain consensus mechanisms that are good for various kinds of purposes, and this will allow for the creation. This new monetary system will allow for the creation of a lot more debt and decrease the risk of collateralizing real assets, whether that be gold or Bitcoin or Ethereum or land or whatever, anything. So the cost of anything that can be automated will decrease with the implementation of this new system and the various other sorts of technologies that are being built alongside with this new monetary system. Any sort of automation. This means that the cost of anything that can be automated will go down. The cost of things that cannot be automated will increase. And this will just shift the job market. Now, there will be people who lose and there will be people who gain from this shift. The question is, how do you shift your life in accordance with these pressures? Now, there will be less opportunity in jobs that function as administrators, as technicians, as lawyers, as politicians, as middlemen, people who are buying and selling other people's goods that other people have produced without adding any sort of value. Those kinds of jobs are eventually going to go away. And opportunity will increase in the areas where people are actually producing goods and marketing and selling those goods directly to their customers, as well as people who are offering various services. There may be other sorts of areas that will be affected, but those are the two that come to mind. So this whole artificially intelligent system, smart economy, whatever you want to call it, is, I think, going to start to become the new world government, in a sense. So it's going to change the rules of our society. It's going to change how corporations and governments and individuals function. And those who have access to the artificially intelligent systems will be the ones that benefit. Those that do not have access to the AI system will not benefit, of course, right? That's why there are so many geniuses at the forefront of this movement, like Elon Musk, for example, right, who are saying and doing everything that they can to push us towards this new reality of electrifying the world, right, and bringing internet to everyone and a smartphone into everyone's hand, because this is the way that that new paradigm is stabilized, through the combination of the establishment of those new paradigm structures as well as the birth of this artificial intelligence, which is the key to integrating the old structures with the new structures. So I have zero doubt that this new system will address some of the problems with the old paradigm. And I have no doubt that the new system, which is the merger of the old paradigm and the new paradigm, will create a whole bunch of new problems that we have not yet realized. So it's not going to be just a problem solver for everything, but I do believe it is a step forward, right? I mean, a more efficient system for anybody who has access to this AI structure. I mean, in the name of economic progress, growth, and prosperity, we had slavery at one point. And then we had machines, and now we have the artificial intelligence, right, that we're creating right now. And this is progress, right? I mean, slowly at least, we're offloading that work from the backs of other humans onto this machine structure. And as long as we figure out how to adjust to all these changes efficiently and minimize the suffering within this transition period over the next maybe 10 years or so, this artificially intelligent being that we're birthing right now is going to lead us to a new complexity of life, a new complexity of the inner workings of our societal structure, of our corporate structure, of our government structure, and of our monetary structure. Thank you for listening. I hope that was interesting. Bye now.